I'm Alex Mullen from the University of Nottingham. I'm leading a European Research Council funded project called LatinNow. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about Reflectance Transformation Imaging, or RTI. So a lot of the time when we find Roman text or whatever it is on bits of metal or wood or whatever, they're really hard to read. And one of the tools in our toolkit is RTI. And RTI uses a fundamental thing that epigraphers, people who read ancient texts, have used for centuries. Essentially, the idea that if you're trying to read something that's hard to read, you kind of naturally move it around in the light to try and read it better. The image that is created resembles a 2D photographic image. But what's cool about it is every single pixel has information encoded within it about the 3D nature of the object that you've imaged. So it's all about reading very subtle surface changes, which is just brilliant for working on things like Stylus tablets, like we're doing today, because we want to be able to really zoom in and see the nature of the surface to try and distinguish between what might be legible scratches into the wood, what might be accidental scratches, and what's wood grain or cracks and other things. And sometimes you just can't do that with the naked eye.
So I'm Richard Hobbs. I'm the Western Curator of Rome and Britain at the British Museum. So we are in one of the museum's storage facilities, a large storage facility we have in West London at Blythe House. It's where we store most of our really large bulk archaeological archive material from excavations. But one of the most important collections we keep here is the Vinderlands Tablets. We have about 1,600 tablets, which have been discovered since the mid-70s. They're of huge importance internationally as some of the rarest documents written in mostly around about AD 100 from the fort of Vindolanda. And the British Museum is one of the few institutions where we have the kind of facilities to store material like this. So they're stored in a very special room which has got very stable environmental conditions. So we're basically here because that's what the Vinderlands tablets are. And so if we want to study them, we need to go to the tablets rather than the other way around.
So we can do RTI in various ways. One way is to use the highlight kit, which allows us to do imaging of large objects out on the field, archaeological investigations and so on. The other thing that we can use is a superdome, which is right here on the table beside me. Superdome was created in a research project about 10-15 years ago by the University of Southampton and the Centre for the Study of Ancient Documents in Oxford. And this is a kind of second generation version of the superdome. And essentially how it works is that instead of like you would in the field with the highlight kit, walking around with a handheld flash, taking photos at different intervals and using spheres, here it's all sort of done for you as long as you can set it up correctly within a dome. So we have the dome here, which is set up with a shroud around it to not allow any light in. And you have a flashy camera on the top with special lens to take images that is timed for the same time as a single LED light going off inside the dome. And the LED lights go off in a sequence, and it takes 128 photos. And as long as it's carefully calibrated and everything remains at the same height, then the software knows the distance between the light source and the object in each case, so it can work out what the shadows and the highlights mean, etc. And the information about the 3D-ness of the object is encoded into each pixel that is generated by the software. So essentially, what we do is we pull out this stage, we put our object, for example, a Vindolanda Stylus tablet, into this part of the stage with a colour chart and a scale, and we push it right into the centre of the dome. We then pull down the curtain, the black curtain, to keep the light out, and press some buttons. The green button makes it go. The lights start to fire, the images are taken, and then we've got our raw files that we can then process into the right kind of form to produce RTI files to view.